what do you want for dinner? No, what do you want for dinner?
What
Right?
do I want for dinner?
Right? That's like a common question that every single relationship ever poses at each other, like that back
Ever.
and forth,
Yeah.
right? Ever.
Oh no.
Literally.
Yeah, that's real dialogue right there. So this problem only gets worse though when you start to coordinate like with a group of friends. And so this group sought out to kind of solve that. And so let's hear it from 5218.
Good afternoon, everyone. My name's Jason Ioannidis. This is Sam Kwan, Sandy Mack, and Sarah Zhao, and we're the team behind 5218. Going to dinner is a lot of fun, but making plans really isn't. When a user joins our application, their geolocation is captured. As other users join that same session, their geolocations are captured as well. We pull a center point from those geolocations and show the users in the group all the restaurants proximal to that midpoint. The users can then vote. After that, a decision is made and the plan is set. In creating our app, we realized that a mobile application made a lot more sense for our purposes. So we utilized React Native JS as our front-end framework. This allowed us to simultaneously design an app for Android and iOS. In the back end, we utilized Koa.js for our server framework. This allowed us to keep the back end a lot more lightweight and a bit more modular. Now here you can actually see our login screen as we get the demonstration started. Our database uses a series of strong validators, and our server utilizes Koa Passport with an eye toward security in an increasingly insecure web environment. Now I'm going to pass it over to Sam, who's going to take you through the invitation process.
Thanks, Jason. It's Monday after work at Times Square, and Leo lands on our homepage. He wants to get dinner with his friends, Gumbo, Peanut, and Taco, but they're in different parts of the city. So he plans an event by clicking on the Create Event button, and he puts, and so he plans on clicking on the Create Event button, and invites his friends to dinner by on the friends list. When the friends are invited, this becomes a created event and pushes to the database. And as you can see in our ERD, these allow our associations between the group users, the friends, and the dinner event itself. Initially, we wanted to use Google's Firebase's API. Google Firebases as an initial database as our initial debate. Sorry, as our Google. We wanted to initially use Google Firebase's database, but we wanted to keep our data scheme our data scheme as well. Now that Gumbo, Peanut, and Taco are in the waiting room, waiting for Leo. Leo will be waiting for them in the waiting room, and I give the mic to Sandy.
Thank you, Sam. Now, Leo's waiting room renders a map which pins everyone's current geolocation and a list of friends that he's waiting on. We chose to use Expo's React Native Map component, which allow us to utilize the map functionality on our devices. With this component, we are able to customize the range of map view and pin every user's coordinates. A challenge we faced was gathering the information and distributing the information within our app to our Heroku server in real time. We tackle this challenge by using WebSockets, which listen and broadcast all information within the same channel. For example, the sockets will listen and send all the coordinates to our server to calculate a midpoint. The midpoint is then used to make a call to the Yelp API for nearby restaurants. Now, Leo and friends are ready for some voting action, which my teammate Sarah will talk about.
Thanks, Sandy. After Leo votes, he's taken to another lobby to wait for the rest of his friends. This can take time, but since Leo created the event, he's able to override these votes since it is 6:30 p.m. and a work night. Unlike the waiting room, overriding the voting process presented a unique challenge. We had to now change 2 screens instead of 1 for all users, the open ballot and this lobby. We were able to use React Redux's store state and Socket.io connections in order to change the view not just for our host Leo, but now able to close the ballot for the unresponsive Gumbo. Leo can now see his final restaurant information, and his updated geo coordinates will be sent to calculate a journey so that he can now go visit his dinner with friends. 5218's goal was to alleviate the age-old concern of planning a dinner outing amongst busy friends who only have a couple of hours to meet. Our solution was to use included a strong focus on a smooth user interface while handling heavy loads of data on a headless server. This has been a challenging but very fun experience for us, and we thank you all for tuning in. Our app is deployed behind us on Expo, and we hope you enjoyed 5218. Thank you.
All right, like that. If you also face the challenge of deciding where to eat every night, you know, one thing I'm already one trend I'm already seeing is a lot of interest in React Native, and especially around Expo. That's become like a very hot topic, I think, down here. You know, that's a perennial project. I see people. I eat the same thing every day, and you can see Nimit here is a Soylent drinker, so we don't resonate with us. Every day the Soylent, but but I see that project over again, and that was done very well. I like the mechanic, and I like how the state is being updated across the users. So,
You know where the game name comes from? 521. It's a Reddit life pro tip that was like, you select 5 places to eat, then somebody else eliminates it down to 2, and then somebody finally picks 1. It was kind of a pun off of that. Not to give away the mystery, but that's yeah.
Okay.
I think it's really cool.